and LeBron in foul trouble and get them off the floor because the rest of the guys that they have out there need somebody to facilitate and make things happen for them.
19 turnovers, Kevin, compared to just 18 assists on the night.
Well, again, you don't have LeBron, who's such a huge ball handler and playmaker, and you got a lot of guys right now. I mean, look at a lot of these turnovers; they're just that's just terrible. They're just careless. They're probably guys who aren't comfortable with the ball. AD was standing out of bounds and he caught that one. But more than that to me was in the third quarter, the Nuggets moved and passed, and they came out and kind of showed you why lately their offense has been red hot and their defense has stayed really consistent. They came out and just put it to them, led by Paul Millsap in that third quarter. So the Lakers struggled, but you're going to struggle without LeBron because I'm not sure who their second. Now Rondo can get you assists, but who else is going to make plays out there for anybody? And AD. Tonight just was a score. He wasn't drawing double teams and then passing out and letting people play behind him after the double team. So the Lakers, look more than mortal, but you lose your top player. That's going to happen. But again, getting back to that third quarter, boy, you caught a glimpse of about a 7-minute stint there where you went like, ooh, this Denver team can be pretty good. Yeah.
Nuggets outscored the Lakers by 11 in that third quarter. Nobody had a huge scoring night. Paul Millsap led Denver with 21, but as often as not, he just feels like the glue to this team. Jokic is their biggest star. Jamal Murray is kind of the up-and-comer, but Millsap, for stretches of games, seems to hold things together for them.
He does. He settles them down. Kevin and I were talking earlier off camera. He does so many things for this team. Obviously, he's a good rebound for a power forward player that's undersized. He can step out and knock down threes from the perimeter. He can play in the post. He's a pretty good passer as well. We were talking about his $30 million salary, and if going forward, this is the last year of it, if it's something that Denver should think about moving on, or do they keep him and come off of that money at the end of the season? But Kevin made a good point that last year during the playoffs, he was the one guy who settled this team down in critical situations and for a young team that wasn't used to being in the playoffs. And so he definitely has a value for this team. We saw it tonight. They have, to me, their bigger problem is getting a rotation of 9 or 10 guys that they're going to play. Because, we talked about Torrey Craig, who started at the beginning of the season, who's now out of the rotation. We've seen that with Beasley. But one thing you can say about these guys, they're pros. And pros, what I mean by that is, regardless of if you can go 3 games and not play, you still continue to practice hard every day and stay ready so that when you're called on, you can do your job.
Yeah, Beasley was a perfect example of that. You don't play much, but you come out and you have a good game. And that everybody on the team, when you're on a team and you're playing a lot, you really appreciate those guys. They work hard after practice. They stay in there. They grind it out. They're having nobody saying anything to them because they haven't played in a week. But all of a sudden, there's a sprained ankle and foul trouble. And you throw that guy out there, he's ready, and it helps you win games. And those guys are invaluable. But I agree with you. I thought the early part of this season, part of Denver's problem, Brian, was they had too many of the same players. They got a ton of those wings that just are very similar. And I'm not sure any one of them is that much better than the other. So you're almost going like potluck, take a number out of the hat because I don't think they can separate themselves. So I think as a coach, what you got to do is just say, it's not fair, but this is it. You're in the rotation, Matt, you're out. And, we're going 10 games like this. If it doesn't work, Matt, you'll be back in. But, Brian, I'm giving you 10 games here as our 6th, 7th man. And you just got to pick a lineup. You can't play 11 guys. It just doesn't work. You're better off playing 8 to 9, and getting them some meaningful minutes.
It's a better problem than not having enough good players for a rotation, but it's a problem nonetheless. Denver scored 73 in the second half. That's the most the Lakers have allowed in any half this season. Again, we'll have to wait and see on the condition of Anthony Davis, but his 32 tonight, obviously not nearly enough. And you mentioned he wasn't really a playmaker tonight. He only had a single assist. With LeBron not on the floor, you really need somebody who can do both, and they just didn't have that.
Yeah, if you look at big guys normally how they play, they get the hockey assist because they demand the double team. They throw it out, and Brian's not going to get the shot if he's initially. He's going to move it on. The shot's going to come from behind that. But if you look at that, they started all by drawing the double team. He didn't do that. He played on different areas in the floor tonight. He scored, but he never really demanded that people come down there to him. And I mean, that's a tough shot. You know, if you're coaching, you can live with that shot. This is where I think he's murder, is when he puts the ball on the floor. He's watch this move against Jokic. I mean, Jokic has no chance. He can just beat you here. You know, off the board, he's tough. But he never established himself where you have to double team me. Every time I get the ball, you got to come get me. So, you know, I'd like to see him do that. And this is the injury. That looked terrible. Watch this angle.
Late in the third quarter, it's uncomfortable to watch as he slips and that right leg appears to hyperextend. And he kind of shook it off. And once he got up, kind of, tried to feel it out a little bit. He stayed in the game, then left the game. They worked on it for a while. Then he returned to the game. And I don't know, you guys tell me. I don't know if you've experienced anything like that, but that's one of those things where you're going to find out a lot more tomorrow when he wakes up.
And then we were talking about earlier, you almost hold your breath every time Anthony Davis hits the floor. That didn't look good. It's encouraging that he came back on the floor, but as you said, tomorrow will be the true test to see, if there's any damage or how he feels based on that. The thing about the Lakers that was evident tonight is that the other guys, when LeBron, his usage rate is so high. Mm-hmm. That now that he's not there, the other guys are either so uncomfortable or either they're incapable of making plays for anybody else. And that's where I think Frank Vogel is going to have to look at a night like tonight when he doesn't have a LeBron available. To your point, Kevin, put AD down on the block, make him draw double teams and be the facilitator from that position. And then that'll put those guys more in their natural positions of being able to catch and shoot and not have to necessarily make any reads or plays for other people, because it was evident tonight that, you saw Kuzma get out of control a couple of times, but they're used to LeBron doing that and they didn't have him tonight. Yeah,
when you're a facilitator like LeBron, all you do is you beat your guy, you draw two because you beat the next guy, and you allow your teammates to play 4-on-3 behind you. AD's got to be that guy, draw two in the post, throw it out, and allow their teammates to feel comfortable playing 4-on-3. And I got news for everybody out there. If you can't beat three defenders and there's four and you're pros, you're bad pros. Let me just tell you right now, you're really bad pros. But that's how a lot of these guys play. And then they go to another team and they say, boy, we're going to run our offense through this guy. And all of a sudden they're just baffled. Why isn't he efficient? Well, because he's not playing with a guy that can draw too.
Right.
It's impossible. You don't have to be all that good if you're playing 4-on-3. You just got to be able to move the ball and have good spacing. And that's what those guys are used to doing. And you're right. It really shows up when LeBron's not there. Nobody's drawing two. No one's allowing them to play, 4-on-3 behind the ball.
Hopefully Davis is okay, and hopefully LeBron is okay for their sake, for the league's sake.